very sort of new side to your character in the past few months. What's your inspiration behind it?
I don't know what my inspiration is. What, winning? Maybe claiming claiming what I deserve. After years of frustration and being nice and doing the right thing and letting people get over on me, I think finally seeing that enough is enough, and having your friend once again take advantage of your good nature, come into a match that she shouldn't have been in, when you've been working your way up the card, beating everybody in your path, then in she comes, steals it when your back's turned, you say, oh, I've had enough of this, I deserve more, slap her across the face and take what's yours. I think that was my inspiration. That was my inspiration.
And is there anyone or do you take sort of inspiration for your character work from other, wrestlers from the past, or anyone in sport today?
No, this is just me. This is just how I feel. This is the real me. I've been compared to some people, but they haven't been my influences necessarily. This is just how I feel. This is just what I want, and this is just what I'm taking.
One of the people I'm sure you've been compared to is Conor McGregor.
Ah!
Is that just because you're from the same town?
I think it's because we're from Ireland and we run our mouths a lot, but we also back it up, right? So that goes part and parcel. And I think also it's something with the Irish, right? We have a little bit of a gift of the gab. I got a gift and I got a gab.
You can say that, I can't.
Yeah.
But that's a good comparison. I mean, he's a star.
Yeah, he is a star, and he's the face of the fight game, and I'm the face of WWE, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. I am the face of WWE. I am the most talked about in the industry. He's the most talked about in his industry. So I guess that's a good comparison.
Absolutely. And you've sort of extended this character work a lot to social media, specifically Twitter, where you're in this huge war with Ronda Rousey. How do you see that's going? How are you feeling about all that?
About Ronda Rousey?
And the Twitter war.
Oh, the Twitter war. Well, it's kind of like how it's going to be in Survivor Series. I'm destroying her. Absolutely destroying her. Anything that she says, I've got a better comeback. Well, she's kind of hounding me at the moment.
Yeah.
My latest post was, who's my biggest stan. That's what the kids say.
Yeah, I know.
It's
yeah.
like fan.
Yeah.
And
I'm very far from being
Ronnie.
a kid, so
It's Ronnie. Yeah, Ronnie's just been hounding me with her posters and but like putting herself in front of me and putting herself on top of it, and it's just like, here now, Ronnie, you're not the talk of the industry. I'm the talk of the industry. You came into my world. You were very good in your world. Well done. But this is a whole different kettle of fish, and you have a championship. Yes, that's true. That is undisputable. But she hasn't been tested, right? Anybody she's stepped into the ring with has already been beaten, right? Before the bell rang. Because she has that dominance, she has that presence, she has that ability to instill fear in her opponents. But that's not me. I'm not scared of anybody or anyone. I've been taking beatings my whole life, right? I have lost countless amount of times, and I've come back the next week, the next day, maybe even the same night. I've come back and I've won and I've overcome, and then I've been knocked down again. But I've constantly got myself back up again. She can't say the same thing.
no.
She can't say the same thing. And that's why this is interesting. Because her whole persona is based on her dominance and how she can run through people. That's not what I'm built on.
I quite liked as well your tweet where you sort of suggested that her tweets perhaps are being written for her. They're not being written by her.
Yeah.
But yours are all straight from you.
From the heart, from the head.
Yeah.
Right? From the gift of the gab. And I think that's the difference, right? I don't have a team. Ronda has a team. I don't have a team. I'm out here on my own doing this solo.
And before you went into this war with Ronda on Twitter, you were sort of taking shots at pretty much everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, you were sort of finding something and laying into various people. What was your thinking behind that?
Well, that's to let them know who the champ is, who the man is, right? And anybody, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your persona is. That you're gonna want to step to me. You know what I mean? Because I'm the champ. I'm the person that should be feared. And they all had this battle royal that they were going into, and any one of them could have been a number one contender. I just want to let them know who they're dealing with.
So you're kind of being quite mean to people on Twitter, but people in arenas and the fans seem to like that, and they're giving you very positive responses. I've been at a couple of events this week, a lot of chants for you. What do you think's going on there?
So I'm saying the truth, right? I'm saying what's on people's minds. I'm saying the truth. The truth, say it.
Yeah.
And I think people can appreciate that, right? We're constantly being bombarded, constantly being lied to. Constantly. Finally, somebody's coming out and they're saying the truth. And when they see it and when they can relate to it, when they can see somebody's being pushed down time and time again and overlooked time and time again, and finally they say enough's enough, they stand up for themselves, that's something everybody can relate to.
Do you think you're in the best position you've been in your career so far?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the
And
happiest you've
I am
been.
loving every second of it.
Yeah, including sort of putting down Hall of Famers like Edge.
Oh, absolutely. Some part of that's been some of my favourite work so far, because you don't get into the ring and condescend the champ and act like I don't know what I'm doing, like I'm some kid. I'm not a teenager. I am a grown-ass woman. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing every time I go out there. And I know exactly what has been done to me. I know that Charlotte Flair has backstabbed me time and time again. And finally, I've taken what I deserve. Don't tell me I'm going to be lonely when I'm older. I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to have millions of dollars. And I'm going to have loads of friends that will want my millions of dollars.
Cool. It went over quite. You got sort of a babyface reaction to it at the time, but it was also a little bit. It was kind of the furthest you've pushed this character. Is it just the start of you sort of pushing those boundaries? Perhaps will there be more of that to come?
There is so much. I am an onion, my friend, and we are just peeling back the layers. We're just peeling back the layers.
Cool. I wanted to ask you about obviously Evolution. You were involved in a huge match. A lot of people's choice, pretty much everyone's choice for match of the night from that event. Some people's choice for match of the year.
Yeah.
How do you feel the match went?
Went as good as it possibly could be, because I won.
Indeed.
Right? And that was the thing. That's what I say. I get up again, right? That's me. I just constantly get up again. You can put me through anything. You can give me as much pain or as much damage as you can possibly put me through, but I'll get up again, right? And I think that's the difference between me and Ronda Rousey, right? And so her name got her the actual main event. My skill got me match of the year.
That's a good point.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. How did you feel the next day?
Fine.
Which bit hurt the most?
2 days later. 2 days later,
Kicked in.
2 days later, 2 days later, I felt pretty rough. But the day after, maybe I was hopped up on adrenaline and happiness because I won, because I did what I said that I would do, which was keep Charlotte Flair down. And there's just a lot of pride in that. But then 2 days later, oh, yeah.
Then you felt it.
The rigor mortis in, yeah.
It was. I mean, a lot of people say about women's evolution, the sort of the last step will be a WrestleMania main event. That is something that people often speak about. But how important was it to have a match like that, which sort of showed that women can have these sort of brutal matches and, nearly 30-minute match with a lot of intensity to it? That seems to be quite important as well, really.
Oh, it's hugely important. Hugely important. It is. It's one thing to have a bunch of hype going into a match, right? And then it's a whole other story to have a bunch of hype coming out of that match, right? And you have to deliver, and that's what we did that night. And I kept saying it, that I wanted Evolution to be the most talked about pay-per-view, the best pay-per-view, the pay-per-view that delivers, the best pay-per-view of the year, and that's what it was. And I said that I wanted to be match of the year, and that's what we got. And I said that I was going to walk in as SmackDown Women's Champion and walk out as the champ. And that's what I did.
Another thing I think which is quite interesting with the evolution and stuff like that is that obviously you are positive role models for women, female fans, women and girls. But I was at a live event in Nottingham this week, and when you came out, obviously the chants start, and it's a lot of men and boys, young boys, chanting for you as well. So I mean that seems quite important as well, that from the fans' perspective, and especially younger fans, they don't necessarily distinguish between men and women in terms of competitors. They just see you as competitors.
And that's the evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
yeah.
and that's exactly where I wanted to get it to, right? That it doesn't matter, gender be damned, it's all about the characters, it's all about your ability, it's all about what you bring in the ring, and it's all about being the best, right? So it's all about, it's about being the best across the board. It doesn't matter what your gender is, doesn't matter what your race is, doesn't matter what your background is. You go out there and you be the best that you possibly can be, and let the crowd respond in kind.
That was quite, so for me last night, that was quite an eye-opener really, because you don't see that in other sports. You know, you wouldn't really get boys watching women's football, for example, and things like that, or certainly not treating it as the same. So do you kind of feel like the journey is complete now?
I think we still have a fair bit to go, you know, and we still have more to do. We still have meat to main event WrestleMania, then maybe the journey will be complete. We still have women's tag titles to be gotten and things like that, you know, things that are on the horizon. So and just making that the thing where it's all just interchangeable. It's all just women's matches, men's matches, whatever the matches are. They're just great matches and they're just great storylines and we just have great characters and people are just emotionally invested in all stories, and that's where we're getting to, and that makes me happy. And I think we see that in combat sports in general. I think you can see that in boxing, you can see that in MMA, you know. And Ronda, of course, is the pioneer of women's MMA. She's just brought it to the forefront, you know. And before her, Dana White said there was never going to be a woman in the octagon. Then Ronda came along and you couldn't deny her.
And main evented.
And main evented. Yeah. She was one of the biggest stars.
Yeah, we'll come to the Twitter questions in a sec, because we put a thing on Twitter and obviously got a lot of response. But you mentioned the tag team titles there.
Yeah.
You kind of walk alone at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
But if you were to have to choose a partner, who would you go for?
Nowadays, who would I choose? Interesting. Good question. I think Asuka's a killer, right? So I'd like to partner with a killer.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
Is she someone you'd like to face in the ring as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
do good things.
Yeah, she's a killer. I'll kill
her. So on to Twitter. The first one, which is a pretty good question. What is it like being the face of WWE right now?
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's. I said that I wanted the billboards and I wanted the morning talk shows, and I'm getting them, and I'm loving it. Loving every single second of it. I'm loving not being able to sleep. I'm loving running on adrenaline and coffee. It's everything that I've ever wanted.
Yeah, and it's everything you thought it would be when you were aiming towards it.
Absolutely. Yeah, just happy as a clam.
Cool. Who on the Raw roster, other than Ronda Rousey, does the man want to face in a main event?
Ooh, Sasha Banks is one of my favourite people to be in the ring with. She's fantastic. She's a wonderful athlete. I would like to face her and beat her.
Be a good match.
Yeah, it would be a great match. I think one of my favourite matches was, and my coming out match, was myself versus her at Unstoppable Takeover. And she won that match. And times have changed. So I would like to prove to her who the man is.
Yeah, you owe her one for
I
that.
am the man.
Yeah. You see, a four horsewomen reunion seems a long way off at the moment, fair to say.
A reunion, as
in joining forces.
Joining forces, might be a ways away, but I wouldn't mind stepping in the ring and competing against the other three.
All of them.
Yeah, all three of them.
Cool.
I see that as a WrestleMania main event.
Definitely, definitely. We had a few on this. The Seth Rollins tweets.
Oh, yes.
Are you going to wrestle him?
I would love to. King Slayer versus Queen Slayer. Straight fire versus burning it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all there ready.
And I am the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
To that point, you've obviously had an intergender match or two with James Ellsworth in the past. Do you ever see a time where WWE would present those matches in sort of a serious context, sort of like you against Seth type thing?
We could see that happening, especially with Mixed Match Challenge and its popularity and how well that's gone over. So that's the great thing about pro wrestling, really, isn't it? We can kind of do whatever we want.
Yeah.
So we control it.
Yeah. They kind of have been used more and more on independence.
Yep.
It's perhaps a bit of a leap to then take it to WWE, perhaps, do you think? Or
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's 100% necessary. But I would certainly enjoy it. Seth Rollins, I will say, despite all of our banter, is one of my favorite wrestlers. I think he's phenomenal, and also one of my favorite people. But it doesn't matter if he's one of my favorite people or not. He should know who the real man is, and that's me.
What's it going to take for your match to be the main event at Survivor Series?
I don't think much more, right? Because we're getting the people hyped. The people care about it. I think the people are more invested in this match than any other match on the card. Can you name a match that people care about more? Can you name a match with two bigger stars?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I'd have to think about it.
All right?
It's certainly been best built, you know, it's got the most
Absolutely.
heat going into it, should we say.
Of course it does. Because I'm involved in it. That's why it does. That's why it does. Because it's had the same amount of build-up as any other match. The only difference is I'm in this one. That's the difference.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
Just to go back, because we just quickly mentioned about indie wrestling. Obviously, we've seen the launch of NXT UK. There's lots of exciting stuff happening in the British scene. Is there any part of you that wishes you were coming into the business now compared to when you sort of had your start those years ago?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the journey that I took and the hardships that I had to endure at the time, when there was less opportunities, I wouldn't give a single one of them back to you, because that's what made me so tough. And that's the difference, right? That's the difference between Ronda Rousey and me, right? She was born tough. She's natural born killer. That's what she says. But I was made tough, and that's a whole lot more longer lasting.
Cool. We'll finish on a biggie. We've got one saying, who would win a fight between Popeye, the Hulk, I'm guessing that's the Incredible Hulk rather than Hogan, Fred Flintstone, Seth Rollins, and yourself?
Me.
Clearly.
Yeah, of course.
What would your strategy be?
Of course. Win. Dominate.
Just win.
Yeah, just win. Just keep getting back up again, right? That's what I've always done. Just keep getting back up again. Keep kicking out. Be relentless. That's my tagline.
Seems like a great strategy.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong.
Okay, Becky, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck for Survivor Series and the future and everything else.
Wonderful. Thank you.